The store went silent the moment Officer Tyler grabbed Aaliyah's wrist like she was a criminal. Her phone hit the floor. A shelf rattled. Customers froze. The white cop's voice cut through the aisle like a blade. "Don't move, girl. I saw what you were trying to do." Aaliyah, 17, soft brown skin, curly ponytail, a bottle of cough syrup in her hand, stared at him in disbelief. "What are you talking about?" "I was just stealing." He barked, "Don't play dumb with me." People started recording. A middle-aged white woman whispered, "These kids, always up to something." A cashier tried stepping forward, but Tyler shoved his palm up, stopping him cold. I said, "Back off. I know exactly what I'm doing." Aaliyah's voice stayed low. "Sir, I was buying this for my grandmother. Save it. You people always have some story." His grip tightened. The bottle dropped. Glass shattered across the tile. Aaliyah didn't cry. She didn't shake. She just looked at him, steady, calm, almost studying him. And that's what rattled him. Because she wasn't acting like the scared kid he expected. She wasn't begging. She wasn't pleading. She was observing everything. His badge number, the cameras, the witnesses, like she already knew exactly what would happen next. Tyler shoved her toward the front of the store. "Let's go. I'm done with your attitude." Aaliyah walked without resistance, her voice controlled. "Are you sure you want to do this?" That sentence stopped two customers mid-step. Even Tyler flinched. Her tone wasn't fearful. It was warning, but he didn't hear it. Or maybe he refused to. "Don't try to threaten me. I'm the law here," he snapped. He yanked her arm higher, enough to make her wince, enough to make a woman gasp. "Oh my God!" The door slid open. The cold air hit her face. Flashing lights reflected off the glass as Tyler pushed her toward the patrol car like she was dangerous. Her pulse stayed slow. Her expression stayed steady. She just whispered, "My dad always warned me about cops like you." Tyler smirked. "I'm sure he did. Doesn't matter now." But it did. More than he could possibly imagine. He had no idea who she was, and this arrest was about to destroy his entire career. If this already made your blood boil, tap like, and subscribe so you don't miss stories where justice finally wins. The patrol car door slammed behind Aaliyah, but she didn't look shaken. Her breathing stayed slow, her back straight, eyes focused, not on Tyler, but on everything else. The dashboard camera, the bystanders still recording, the store manager stepping outside, panic on his face. "Aaliyah, I'm so sorry," he tried to call out. Tyler silenced him with a glare. "One more word and you'll be charged for interfering." He climbed into the driver's seat, slamming the door so hard the windows trembled. Aaliyah sat behind the metal cage, her hands cuffed, fingers still warm from the bottle she'd been holding minutes earlier. She whispered to herself, "Grandma just needed cough medicine." A quiet reminder of why she stepped out in the rain this morning. Aaliyah lived 15 minutes away with her grandmother, who'd been coughing all night. She skipped breakfast, threw on her hoodie, and came straight to the store. Nothing about her day was unusual, until Tyler saw her. Now streetlights streaked across the window as the car moved, each passing reflection cutting across Aaliyah's face like flashing reminders. This wasn't the first time someone assumed the worst about her. But today felt different. Inside the car, Tyler kept glancing at her in the mirror. She wasn't panicking. She wasn't explaining herself. She wasn't begging. It unsettled him. "You're awfully calm for someone in handcuffs," he muttered. Aaliyah looked up slowly. "Because I know what you did was wrong." He scoffed, turning hard onto the main road. "You think I care about your opinion?" "No," she said. "You don't care about facts either." That hit him deeper than he expected. Rain started tapping against the windshield as they drove past empty storefronts. Aaliyah watched them blur together. Small businesses her grandmother always supported. The bakery she worked at last summer. The corner she used to wait for her dad after school before life shifted and responsibilities grew. Her thumb rubbed the edge of the cuff. She thought her grandmother at home, worried, sick. She thought of her father's voice telling her, "Always keep your head clear. Fear makes you sloppy." She wasn't afraid. She was preparing. Tyler watched her again in the mirror. That calm expression, too calm, made him grip the wheel tighter. "What are you planning?" he snapped. Aaliyah looked him dead in the eyes through the mirror. "I'm planning to remember everything you're doing." For the first time, Tyler felt something cold in his chest. Not guilt, not worry, just the fear of someone who suddenly realized he might have picked the wrong person. The station lights appeared ahead, harsh, bright, unavoidable. This was just the beginning. The patrol car rolled into the station lot, tires grinding over wet pavement. Officer Tyler stepped out fast, pulling the door open like he couldn't wait to drag Aaliyah inside. "Let's go," he ordered. Aaliyah stepped out calmly, cuffs digging into her wrists. Her sneakers splashed into a shallow puddle, rain soaking the edge of her hoodie. A couple of officers standing near the entrance paused their conversation as they watched Tyler march her toward the door. One whispered, "Another teenager?" The other frowned. "Looks too calm for a dealer." Inside, fluorescent lights buzzed loudly. Phones rang. Boots thudded. Officers moved past with coffee in hand. But everything slowed when Tyler shoved Aaliyah forward. "Sit," he barked, guiding her into a hard plastic chair. She didn't sit. She looked around the room, observing every detail, every face, every camera angle. Then she lowered herself onto the chair with deliberate calm. "Why are you looking around like that?" Tyler snapped. "Because you're violating protocol," she replied. He laughed. "Protocol? You think watching cop shows makes you an expert?" Aaliyah lifted her chin. "I don't need TV to know what you're doing is wrong." For a moment, the room felt colder. Her voice was steady, too steady. Tyler felt the eyes around them. Officers who normally joke with him weren't laughing today. They were watching him and her. He leaned in close. "You can drop the attitude. Nobody's coming to save you here." Aaliyah didn't move an inch. She just stared at him with a strange mix of calm and certainty. "Are you sure about that?" she asked softly. That one sentence made Tyler's stomach twist. He didn't know why. He just hated how confident she sounded. He grabbed the paperwork clipboard. Full name. Aaliyah looked straight into his eyes. "Are you sure you want to hear it right now?" He froze. The room fell silent. Even the officer by the printer turned his head. Aaliyah wasn't bluffing. She wasn't scared. She knew something he didn't. And Tyler finally felt it. There was a reason she never panicked. A reason she never begged. A reason she warned him. And he was seconds away from discovering why. If this happened right in front of you, what would you do? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And if you stand for fairness, hit subscribe. The air tightened around them as Tyler swallowed hard and forced himself to continue the intake process. Unaware that the truth he was about to learn would flip his entire world upside down, Officer Tyler shifted uncomfortably as he scribbled on the intake form, pretending not to notice the way every pair of eyes in the room kept drifting toward him, the calm, cuffed girl sitting across from him. He cleared his throat. "Address." Aaliyah spoke slowly, each word steady. "You won't need it in a minute." Tyler slammed the pen down. "Stop talking in riddles. Just answer question." Aaliyah didn't flinch. She simply held his gaze long enough for the officer at the next desk, Martinez, to pause mid-typing. "Wait," Martinez whispered. "She looks familiar." Tyler snapped, "Mind your business." But Martinez didn't look away. Neither did Henderson, a veteran officer grabbing a folder from the printer. His eyes narrowed, recognition flickering faintly. Meanwhile, Aaliyah stayed quiet, watching, observing, calculating. Tyler tried to regain control, voice loud again. "Parent occupations." Aaliyah's answer was soft, but it cut straight through the noise. "My mom works in community outreach, and my dad works in law enforcement." The room stilled. Tyler forced a laugh. "What? Security guard? Parking enforcement?" Aaliyah raised one brow. "Something like that." Henderson stopped walking, his eyes fixed on her for a long beat. Then he whispered under his breath, "No way." He stepped closer. "Kid, what's your last name?" Tyler slammed his hand on the desk. "Henderson, back off. I'm processing her." But the older officer didn't move. He kept staring at Aaliyah, really staring. as if a memory was fighting its way to the surface. Aaliyah looked up at him politely. "Good afternoon, Officer Henderson." He froze. "You know me?" he asked. "I used to see you on weekends," she said softly. "You always brought powdered donuts." Henderson's face drained of color. Donuts. Weekends. A teenager around the station. And suddenly, everything clicked. He whispered. "Oh, God," Tyler frowned. What is it?" But Henderson wasn't listening. He backed up a step, eyes wide, turning toward the bullpen as if silently searching for someone. Martinez leaned in. "Thompson, you need to stop? Right now." "Why?" "She's just a door slammed somewhere down the hallway." Heavy footsteps echoed. Low murmurs spread across the floor, like a warning wave. Henderson's voice was barely a breath. "She's not just anybody." Aaliyah lowered her voice. "I told you, Officer Tyler, you made a mistake." Tyler felt something icy crawl down his spine. For the first time since the arrest, he was in control, not even close. And the truth was getting closer with every approaching footstep. Officer Tyler tried to steady his breathing as tension thickened around the room. The footsteps down the hall grew louder, heavier, more deliberate, like someone with authority was moving closer. He snatched the clipboard again, desperate to regain control. "We're finishing this," he muttered. "Phone call. Make it quick." Aaliyah rose slowly. "Thank you. I've been waiting for this part." Her shoes tapped softly on the station floor as she walked toward the phone on the wall. Not rushed, not scared, almost prepared. Tyler followed her, shoulders tense. "Remember, this call is monitored." Aaliyah picked up the receiver, dialed a number smoothly, too smoothly for a random teenager. She didn't call a friend. She didn't call her grandmother. She didn't call a lawyer. A clear, firm voice answered. "Internal Affairs. Detective Morrison speaking." The entire room snapped to attention. Tyler blinked. "Internal? What the? Why would you?" Aaliyah spoke calmly into the phone. "Detective Morrison, I'd like to report an officer for violation of arrest protocol, racial bias, and unnecessary force during detainment." Tyler's stomach dropped. She continued, tone sharp but controlled. "Yes, the officer is present. Yes, I'm safe. Yes, you may begin the documentation." Henderson's hand flew to his forehead. "Oh no, this kid knows the system." Tyler stepped forward. "Hang up, now." Aaliyah simply shifted the receiver away from his reach. Then she said loudly, so the entire station could hear, "He's interfering with my legal phone call." The detective's voice boomed through the speaker. "Officer Tyler." Step away from her. Immediately. Tyler froze mid-step. The room went dead silent. Aaliyah slowly pressed the receiver back to her ear. "Yes, detective. I'll wait for your arrival." Then she hung up, calmly, quietly, and turned to Tyler with a look that finally revealed what she'd been hiding all along. She didn't need to scream. She didn't need to fight. She didn't need to run. She was dismantling him with pure intelligence, and he wasn't even smart enough to realize it. If you believe talent can silence every insult, share this video. And to everyone watching from the US, UK, and Canada, your voice matters. Tyler stumbled back, panic finally hitting him. "What? Who are you?" Aaliyah didn't answer, because the footsteps from the hallway, the ones getting closer, were about to answer that question for her. The footsteps finally stopped at the doorway, and when Captain Malik Williams stepped into the processing room, the entire station fell silent. The kind of silence that comes when everyone realizes something irreversible is about to happen. His uniform was crisp, his jaw was tight, his eyes locked straight on Aaliyah's cuffed wrists. "Aaliyah," he said, voice low but shaking with controlled fury. "Are you all right?" Every officer in the room froze in place. Tyler's mouth fell open. "See, Captain, you know her?" Aaliyah stood slowly. She didn't smile. She didn't grandstand. She simply turned, lifted her hands, and said softly, "Dad, he arrested me for buying cough medicine." A ripple of horror swept through the room. Captain Williams stepped forward, unlocking the cuffs with trembling fingers. The metal clattered against the floor as he turned toward Tyler. The kind of turn that says everything without a single word spoken. "Officer Tyler," he said quietly, "explain yourself." Tyler's voice cracked. "Sir, she was acting suspicious." "What suspicious behavior?" the captain demanded. "She was looking at labels for too long." Even Tyler heard how stupid it sounded. Martinez covered her mouth. Henderson closed his eyes. Another officer whispered, "Oh my God." Captain Williams stepped closer. His voice went colder. "You handcuffed my daughter, dragged her through a store, shoved her, humiliated her because she was reading medication labels?" Tyler stuttered. "Sir, I didn't know. I swear I didn't." "That's the problem," the captain snapped. "You didn't know who she was. And you didn't care who she was. You saw black skin and you made a decision." Tyler's breathing turned shallow. "Captain, please, Aaliyah spoke before he could continue. He called me, you people." He ignored the pharmacist. He stopped anyone who tried to help. Captain Williams inhaled sharply, a slow, deep breath only fathers take when they're holding back everything inside them. Then he turned to Henderson. "Officer, relieve him of duty." Henderson stepped forward without hesitation. "Tyler, hand over your badge and your gun." Tyler's eyes filled with panic. "Wait, please, this is my career." Aaliyah's voice was calm. "You should have thought about that before you treated me like a criminal." The badge came off his chest. The gun came off his belt. The last piece of authority he had gone. Captain Williams looked at him one final time. This could have been any black kid in this city. Today, it happened to be mine. Tyler swallowed hard as reality crashed over him. His career wasn't slipping away. It was already gone. The station felt different after Tyler was escorted away. Quieter, heavier, like the walls themselves understood what had just happened. Aaliyah stood beside her father, rubbing the faint red marks on her wrists. Captain Williams placed a steady hand on her shoulder. "You did everything right," he murmured. Aaliyah nodded once, not triumphantly, not with pride, just with relief, the kind that comes after holding your breath for too long. Martinez approached them carefully. "Aaliyah, I'm sorry for all of this. It wasn't your fault," Aaliyah said softly. "You saw what he was doing." Martinez exhaled. "I should have stepped in earlier." Aaliyah didn't respond. She didn't need to. Her silence said the truth. Everyone saw it. Only one person acted like it was normal. Captain Williams guided his daughter toward his office to finish the paperwork. As they walked, officers avoided making eye contact with him. Not out of guilt, but out of the knowledge that today could have been a catastrophe for the entire department. Hours later, as the sun dipped low and the station lights dimmed, Aaliyah stepped outside. The air felt different now, cold but not harsh. She looked down the street, thinking of her grandmother waiting at home, probably pacing the living room, thinking of the cough medicine still shattered on the store floor, thinking of Tyler's voice echoing in the aisles. She didn't feel anger anymore. She felt clarity, because today, she learned exactly how fast an innocent errand could become a nightmare. But she also learned something else, something stronger. Her calm wasn't weakness. Her silence wasn't fear. Her patience wasn't surrender. It was power. The next morning, news hit the department. Internal Affairs opened a full investigation. Tyler faced suspension pending termination. Community advocates were notified. Witness videos had already spread online. By the end of the week, Tyler's reputation had collapsed. He avoided the station. His neighbors whispered, and every headline repeated the same sentence: "Officer suspended after wrongful arrest of the police chief's daughter." Meanwhile, Aaliyah delivered the fresh medicine to her grandmother and stayed with her on the couch, finally letting herself breathe. "You handled it with grace," her grandmother whispered, brushing her cheek. "That's how we survive. That's how we win." Aaliyah rested her head on her grandmother's shoulder. For the first time all day, she let her eyes close, not because she was tired, but because justice finally felt real. Share this video if you believe no child should face this again, and subscribe for more dark truths.